Switch basic configuration and management. The experiment objective is to master the basic configuration and management of switches. The reason for conducting this experiment is that a certain company has acquired a batch of new switches. After deploying them in the network, they need to be initialized and managed. As network administrators, students will perform basic configuration and management of the switches. Now let's take a look at the basic principles of switch configuration. The management of switches can be broadly classified into two methods: in-band management and out-of-band management. In-band management involves directly connecting a PC to the switch's configuration port, known as the CON port. This method does not consume any of the switch's network ports and is used for the initial switch configuration. For the first-time configuration of a switch, it must be done using the configure port. On the other hand, out-of-band management is achieved through methods such as telnet or dial-up, using the Ethernet ports for login. This method is referred to as in-band management. Next, let's talk about the different modes of operation in the switch command line interface. The first mode is called the user exec mode. You will see a greater than sign after the word switch. The second mode is called the privileged exec mode. You will see a hash symbol sharp after the word switch in the command prompt. The third mode is the global configuration mode. It is indicated by switch confi sharp in the command prompt. The fourth mode is the interface configuration mode. It is indicated by switch confi if sharp in the command prompt. If is the abbreviation for interface. Now, let's take a look at the steps for today's experiment. Step 1. Use the packet tracer simulation software, which we have previously introduced in our class, to build the network topology. Step 2. Familiarize ourselves with the basic command line interface of the switch. The key commands to understand are: enable, abbreviated as N, to enter the privileged exec mode from the user exec mode. Configure terminal, abbreviated as conft, to enter the global configuration mode from the privileged exec mode. Interface number, abbreviated as INT interface number, to enter the interface configuration mode for a specific interface. Exit, to return to the previous mode. For example, from global configuration mode to privileged exec mode. We should also learn how to use the key for getting help. Next, we will learn about command abbreviation, how to use shortcuts for commands, and how to complete commands using the tab key. We will also explore the functions of the shortcut keys Ctrl+C and Ctrl+Z. If you are in privileged exec mode and want to restart the switch, you can use the reload command. To modify the switch's username, you can use the hostname username command. Today's experiment involves the following equipment: 1 2-layer switch, 1 PC, and several configuration cables. The network topology diagram is shown below. Now, let's take a look at the experiment configuration. The PC is connected to the switch through the control port. We will primarily configure the enable mode to enter privileged exec mode. From privileged exec mode, we will access global configuration mode. To access the switch ports, use the interface port command. To exit a specific configuration mode, you can use the exit command. Additionally, we will learn how to use the Tab key for command completion and how to use the command for help. Next, we will proceed with the practical operations. First, we need to build the required network topology diagram. We will start by selecting one switch and one PC. Then, we will connect the trunk port of the switch to the PCS interface using the trunk cable. This setup will enable us to manage the switch through the terminal on the PC. After clicking on the configuration, we can see a confirmation interface for terminal parameters. We will use the default baud rate of 9600 and click OK, which will lead us to the configuration interface of the switch. Now, let's open the command line interface of the switch. We can see that it is identical to the interface we saw on the PC earlier. By pressing the Enter key, we can enter the user mode of the switch. Then, using the Enable command, we can enter the privileged mode of the switch. Once in privileged mode, we can use various commands to check the status of the switch. For example, we can use the Show Running Config command to view the current configuration of the switch. Currently, the switch is in a default configuration state. We can see the name of the switch and that it has 24 ports. The Show Running Config command is actually a long command. Sometimes, it's challenging to remember all the commands. In such situations, the simulator provides a very friendly feature called command completion. For example, when we want to enter the configuration mode, the command is configure terminal. Right. We can start typing conan then press the Tab key. The system will automatically complete the commands. If it doesn't automatically complete after typing con, it means the entered parameter is not enough. In this case, we can use the question mark to see the available options. For example, after typing con and pressing Tab, it might show two possible commands. Since it's ambiguous, automatic completion won't work, and we have to proceed to enter the next letter, such as F, and then press Tab to complete conf. The same applies to terminal. After typing T and pressing Tab, it will complete to terminal, and we can press Enter to enter the configuration mode. Once in the configuration mode, we can use various commands to configure settings. If we are unsure about the available commands in the current mode, we can use the question mark to see the supported commands. For instance, we can see commands like access list, banner, hostname, interface, IP, MAC, and more. When there are many commands, and they can't all fit on one screen, the simulator may show more at the bottom. To see the next set of commands, we can simply press the spacebar to continue displaying the remaining content. Next, we can use the host name command to name the switch. For example, if the switch is an access switch in room 101 of the teaching building, we can name it XL100 and ON, using the host name command. After pressing Enter, we will see that the switch's name has been successfully changed from the default switch to the configured XL100 and ON. Next, let's take a look at other configuration commands available under the configuration mode besides host. For example, If we want to further configure a specific interface, we can use the interface F0 first command to enter the interface mode for the first interface on the switch. In the interface mode, the prompt will show confi if. If we want to return to the privileged mode from the interface mode, we can use the exit command to go back to the previous configuration mode, and then use the exit command again to return to the privileged mode. Some users might find this process a bit complex. In that case, we can use another command to simplify the process. For example, if we are currently in the configuration mode of interface 0 we can use the end command to directly return to the privileged mode. In addition, our simulator has another user-friendly feature, which is the command history. We can use the up and down arrow keys to browse through the previously entered commands in the current mode. This allows us to quickly access commands that were used earlier without having to retype them. For instance, when we enter the configuration mode, we can choose from the previously entered configuration commands and directly press Enter to execute them. All right. This concludes our demonstration for now.